Good morning, everyone. How is everyone today? I have a lot of visual stuff today, so my little table here is filled right up. So I'm very thankful for my new table that has lots of space. I'm just gonna pop up on here and invite some people real quick. Hope everybody's been having a good week so far. My week at work has been super crazy busy. We're doing a big project, sample project, and they thought it would take us a few weeks, and we got way more hits for the samples than I think they were prepared for, and I think it's going to actually take us like months to get through them. But anyway, busy week at work, so sometimes it's a struggle to balance everything. But while I'm inviting everybody here real quick, I wanted to just go over, I'm always talking about kindness and being kind and how it can change your day and how it can change really just not the day, but maybe even the lives of another person by being kind. And I listened to a little meditation session last night, and there was just a really neat little idea that I wanted to, or idea, technique, whatever you want to call it, share with you. And that was in the morning, when you're getting ready to go out for the day, or if you're a stay-at-home person, you can do this at home as well. It just is a little more challenging if you are in the house and don't really go out and see people too much, but I'm sure there's family, kids, somebody around. But just visualize in the morning that you're starting with this whole big bundle, whether it's in a basket or you're carrying them, whatever it is, of flowers. And throughout the day, think of those flowers as kindness, compassion, joy, inspiration, encouragement, any of those like positive words of things that we want to spread all over the place. And see how many of those flowers out of your bundle you can hand out in the day. And so at the end of the day, come back in and check in with your bundle of flowers, your bouquet of flowers, and be like, man, I still have a whole bunch of flowers here, or I have no flowers here. So I just thought that was like a really neat little technique, kind of a fun idea on how to kind of judge, how much kindness and joy, and like I said, it could be encouragement, just a word of kindness, a kind act, compassion for somebody, whatever it is, in a positive way, to try to interact with people. And every time you do that, visualize giving them one of your flowers out of your bundle. And then at the end of the day, checking in with yourself and seeing how many flowers you have left in your bundle. And maybe you could even make it, I don't want to say a competition, but, if you get home today and go like, I still have a lot of flowers in my bundle, but I'll do better tomorrow. So I just thought that was a really neat little way to visualize and kind of keep check for ourselves. I've got some blueberry tea this morning. So we do have a lot to go over, but before we do that, we're gonna do our normal stuff here. We're gonna smudge real quick. And smudging is something I do on a pretty regular basis. If I'm not doing it with the sage itself, I use some sort of incense or the Palo Santo stick, but I smudge on a pretty regular basis. One of the other things I like to smudge is my phone. Keep any negativity off there. And then my hands, because we receive and send energy through our hands. That is one of the focal points of doing that. Um, and so I like to, this is my receiving hand. It's not the same for everybody, but this is my receiving hand, which is why I wear my hematite on this hand. And this is my sending hand, and that's why I wear my rose quartz on that hand. So this is, the hematite is protective and the rose quartz is love. So I'm trying to protect, make sure nothing negative comes in, and sending out, making sure it's got some love attached to it. And then we can just smudge the computer here real quick. All right, so we've done that. Going to light my candle. I like to have a candle lit when we're, for somebody that's a double fireside, nothing wants to burn today. I'm not quite sure what that means, but all right. And last, before we get started, we're going to pull our new chakra card. I had kind of set everything up on my shelves for the other table that was here, which was a little bit higher. So now that I've got my new table, and I'm still playing with the new table, getting it fine-tuned, but I think I'm going to have to kind of go back and maybe adjust the shelves, because I think I'm going to have to swap some shelves around here so things are a little easier to reach. But this was the one we had from last Thursday, so Release and Empower. So that's going to go back in the deck. I'm just going to blow on those a little bit. And again, this is not for anybody particular. Just pulling, just another way for us to educate. So what are we pulling today? The cards back. I always put my cards back. I don't want them sitting out. I don't want them to get used as coasters. Or the dog. My dog likes to pick things up. Speaking of the dog, see this big blue blanket lump back there? That's my dog. She's hiding in there. So if you see the blanket move, it's not a ghost, it's the dog. So we pulled Inspired Visioning. So when you, and I can't see, when you perceive the world with depth and clarity, you empower your imagination. When you fuel your imagination, you are able to visualize and manifest what you desire. You have inside of you everything you need to live deeply into your highest potential and soul's greatest calling. Let go of fear, anxiety, and ask yourself what a good next step would be. Begin today with a small gesture in the direction of your dreams, knowing it is guided by Source. And so that is aligned with your third eye chakra. The crystal is lapis lazuli, which I have here. Always wear that one. And the herb is juniper, which I do have some juniper berry. I don't have juniper, but I have some juniper berry. I have juniper oil. So maybe that's something I could, I've already put my oils on for today, but maybe I'll go back and add a little juniper today. So, Inspired Visioning. And I apologize, I took a picture of Tuesday's gemstone card, and I don't think I got it posted, so I will get all the cards posted up there today for you, I promise. Like I said, it's just been super, super crazy at work. All right, so we've saged, we've lit our candle, we have pulled our new card, and so today I've been promising you guys for a while that we're going to talk about medicine bundles and how to make a medicine bundle. Now again, there's not really a right or a wrong way to do that, but I will just give you guys some suggestions. I did put a poll up on the group, and put a couple of options of medicine bundles that you were looking for, and I did leave the option that you could add your own if you wanted. The two that came back that people had checked off was protection and prosperity. So what I decided to do was just kind of go over both of them. I didn't want to do one and not the other because you guys had asked for both. So medicine bundles, there's really no right or wrong way. Traditionally, it's done with a piece of cloth, but you can do it however you want. You could get, you can go out and buy things. You can buy those little leather pouches or the velvet pouches for medicine bundles if you want. You can find them on eBay. You can find them on Amazon. They're not super expensive, but you can just use a piece of cloth. I think personally, instead of buying something, which again, this is my opinion, you can take it or leave it. But my opinion is when you're making a medicine bundle, the cloth should have some sort of meaning to you. So yes, you can go buy a leather pouch on Amazon. But if you don't really have a connection with that, again, there's no right or wrong way, but my opinion is it's better to have a piece of cloth that you have some sort of connection with. So my suggestion is, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing a protection bundle, my first suggestion was, if you have someone in your life that makes you feel safe, that you have a t-shirt, a sock that belongs to them, or that something that they gave you, those would be good to use. Same with the prosperity. If you have somebody that I guess it's a little weird with prosperity, but if you had somebody that was has been kind of supporting you financially and helping you along, you could use something from there. Everybody's going to make connections in different ways. So if there's something out there for if you're doing, first of all, let me just backtrack a little bit. If you're doing a prosperity or an abundance medicine bundle, you need to do a little bit more intention setting with that, because you could be looking for an abundance of love. You could be doing an abundance of, I don't know, health. Like, there's a lot of different things you could do abundances of. So it doesn't necessarily have to be money if you're doing abundance. But in this case, we're doing prosperity, and I'm doing it based off financial cash. But again, you can prosperity can be different things as well. So, but typically it's money. So that is what I am basing this one off when I'm telling you things to put in it and things like that. It's based off prosperity of financial well-being. So yeah, if you have something you could use, if you had those zippered money bags, you could get one of those and cut it and use the material from that, something like that, to bring in a little bit more of that attention of financial prosperity. Again, think about it and see what resonates with you. And I know that's kind of hard because I'm trying to tell you what to use, suggest to you what to use, but at the same time I'm telling you kind of go with your own judgment. But I'm hoping that at least I'll guide you in a direction that makes sense. But yeah, that's one of the first things that comes to mind, is if you had one of those the money bags, the little things you used to zip up and take to the bank. You could use something like that. You could use a coin purse. You could go to the store and get a little coin purse, and try to cut that to use it. You don't need to, though. If you wanted to use a coin purse, just like the medicine bag, you can just put all the stuff in the purse and zip it closed, and we can talk about, you don't want to seal it up somehow, but we could certainly talk about that as well. You know, how to do something with that. You could tie it up. But you could certainly just go to the dollar store and just buy a little coin purse and put all your stuff in there as well. So yeah, just think about it, and you can come up with, I'm sure, a million more ideas too than me on the spot. All right, so we're going to start with protection, and some of this, the basics that would go into your medicine bundle. So some of the things, and I have some of the things here, so if I have it, I'm going to use it as a visual for you, but I don't necessarily have everything on my list here. So sorry, I did need to backstep a little bit here. If you're going for prosperity, back to the cloth, because I just missed a step. My suggestion was that it be green. Obviously, green is the color of money. So if you're going to get a piece of material, if you're going to get a coin purse, anything like that, try to get it green. It doesn't have to be a solid color green. It can be tie-dye green, multicolored green, dark green, light green. That doesn't really matter. You know, just try to get it in the green scope. If you don't have green, if you have a medicine bundle, if you have a coin purse, say maybe somebody gave you and you want to use that, you could finish it off with a green ribbon or something. So you can tie that green in that way as well. For protection, for me, it is black. When I think of protection, I think of black. And that is because most of the stones for protection are black. So that resonates with me. You may have a different color that makes you feel safe. You may have something someone gave you that made you feel safe, or the person made you feel safe. Like I said, it could be a t-shirt, it could be, you know, it could be a sock, it could be anything that you can use for material. You can cut it up and make your bundle. I did want to touch base on the fact that you can, in your medicine bundle, use fabric. If you don't want to use fabric, you can also do a jar. I'll just show you this jar. It's actually got something else I want to show you in it. But you could get these little jars at the dollar store. You can get bigger jars. You can get all the different kinds of size. You can get little jars on Amazon. You can get ones that are like necklace size on Amazon. But you can do all the same thing with the jar if you don't want to use a piece of cloth. You can paint your jars. You can get different color jars for different meanings. A neat little technique is if you take food coloring and Elmer's glue, you can paint the glass that way. So you can use a jar if you don't want to use fabric. You can you can use a jar, or you can use the fabric. Like I said, you could use a coin purse, you know, really anything you want as a container, as long as you're setting the intention when you're doing it. But typically it is a piece of cloth. But like I said, you can buy on Amazon the already done little bags, the leather pouches. If it's something you want to carry with you, that makes a little bit of difference. So you kind of want to think about that stuff when you're making your medicine bundle. If you are doing one for protection and her tail's going over there, see it? If you want to do one for protection and you want it to be in your car, you could pretty much use any of those. You could use a piece of fabric, you could use a little jar and put it in the glove box or the cup holder. You could get the bag and put it on a string or a bottle on a necklace and hang it on the mirror. But if it's something you want to carry in your pocket with you, you are probably not going to want it in a jar. If you're going to carry it in your pocket with you, this is an example of one that I made. that is pretty big. I would not want to carry that in my pocket with me. So just kind of, when you're making it, just kind of think about what it is you really want to use it for, how you want to use it. Like I said, if you were going to have a protection one for your car, you could certainly do this. And then if your car's got like a cup holder on the door, you could just drop it in the door, in the glove box, and it would be safe that way. But you can do that. Again, if you want to carry it with you, I know Amazon has the little bottles. They're really little teeny bottles that have an eyelet on it, so you can put them on a necklace. So you can do that. Or again, you can buy the little leather pouches that would go in your pocket. So just kind of be thoughtful of what you want to use it for, how you want to use it before you get started. Because you don't want to make a big bundle like this and then go, I want to carry this with me. That's going to be a hard one to carry with you. I mean, I could drop it in my pocketbook and carry it with me that way, but I wouldn't want to carry that on my person. So, sorry. I just want to make sure I'm covering all the different options of things that you can use, and maybe the best way to use things. So, protection. Like I said, most of the stones are black. This is smoky quartz, so this is one you can use. And yes, it is actually smoky quartz, because if you can, trying to get it the light so you can see through it. You can see through it when it's held up to the light. Because when I first got it, I was like, they sent me tourmaline. That's not smoky quartz. But you can see through it, so it is smoky quartz. You can kind of see right there that you can see through it a little bit. So smoky quartz is one you can put in your protection. You can also put in hematite, which I have a piece of hematite and I couldn't find it this morning. But I have hematite on my bracelet. Hematite is again black. So you could put in a piece of tourmaline, which I did have. I should have grabbed that. You can put in so smoky quartz, tourmaline, hematite, black kyanite. I do have so you can put in some black kyanite. Can you see it right there? Again, it's kind of hard with my lighting on my camera. The sun is really coming through on the back right there. Even though it's still way back there, it's still making it kind of a weird lighting around the top of my head. One of the other things you can use, this piece is obviously too big, but you could use some selenite in your protection bundle. You can buy them in little stone chips. Same with the smoky quartz. That's a big piece. I would not want that in, right there. You can see it, see through a little bit right here. See? I would not want this in my medicine bundle because this is a really big piece. So again, I would suggest either smaller tumbled stones, or even sometimes you can, different places you can buy them in chips, which it's very little teeny tiny pieces. Because once it goes in your medicine bundle, you don't get to get it back. You don't open it back up and, oh look, it's the monster. Once your medicine bundle is closed up and done, you don't open them up. So whatever you put in there is something you're not going to get back. So if you have a stone you want to work with, or a stone that's very expensive, anything like that, you might want to think about that when you're putting them in there. So those are things to be cautious of as well. So once, like I said, once your medicine bundle is done and closed up, whatever is in there is going to stay in there. So you're not going to get that back. So anyway, that's where the little chips come in nice, because you can get them super cheap. And to put them in there, especially if it's one you want to carry with you, or it's going to be in a little necklace, you want to use like little chip stones. Like you can get like little pieces of them and use. That's a completely different stone, but I was using it for size. to show you that you can get them in very tiny size for your medicine bundles. So the other thing you can use for protection is Himalayan salt. I always keep a little dish here on my altar space with salt in it. So you could sprinkle a few pieces of that in there as well for your protection one. So you can smoky quartz, selenite, hematite, tourmaline, black tourmaline, black kyanite would be stones that you could put in there with some Himalayan salt. Some of the herbs and or oils. So these kind of can be transposed in different, you can use either or, as long as you have one of each. You have an herb and an oil, I recommend. But it doesn't really matter which way you go. And this is, I love this because when I was getting ready this morning, I went to my kitchen cupboard to find a lot of these things. So that was really, for some reason, that really makes me happy knowing that I have things right in my kitchen cupboard that I buy right at the grocery store that can help me in my practice. So one of the first things for protection is whole cloves. And again, you can buy them right at the grocery store. You can get them at the dollar store. You can get organic ones, whatever, whatever you want to spend the money on. But for my purpose, I just get this one. Look, it says it was 89 cents. And so you can use clove. So clove is for protection. One of the other ones is rosemary. So you could put a pinch of rosemary in there. Let's see what else. Sage. So this is sage. That's what's in the jar. This is sage that I'm trying to, so I can see you and you can see the jar and the sun is not in the way. This is sage that I grew. So I grow it, I pinch it off, I let it dry, and then I use my mortar and pestle and grind it up. But you can also, sorry, I still have this tickle in my throat. You can also use actually just some white sage leaves. So if you wanted, instead of sprinkling that in, the crushed up I usually use on a charcoal burner. So in a medicine bundle, I would probably use these leaves. But again, there's no right or wrong way. So whatever you have. If you don't have sage, it's pretty easy to buy most places. You can buy sage on Sage Goddess on my webpage. But a lot of times now, just your local food store, if you have like a organic root cellar kind of farm stand store or health food store, whatever you got around, a lot of those places will carry sage. So you don't need to necessarily buy a sage bundle, like this. But if you had a sage bundle, you could just break off some pieces as well. So you could use the ashes of your sage. So there's all kinds of options for you. So all of these that I'm talking about right now, you can use, and again, you can use in herb form or oil form. I just recommend that you have at least one herb and one oil. So we had the rosemary and the clove and the sage. And then I have some cedar wood oil. So I could put a couple of drops of that in there. It has cayenne, pepper, and paprika and allspice. I didn't pull those out because I didn't need every herb out of my cupboard. But one of the other things is spruce is also, oops, I got it backwards here. Spruce is also healing. Yep, make sure I'm giving you the right bottle. So this is black spruce. Oh, it's time already and I haven't even done the other one. So, So spruce is another one you could use for protection. So we've got smoky quartz, selenite, tourmaline, kyanite, hematite, Himalayan salt, clove, rosemary, cedarwood, cayenne, paprika, allspice, sage, and spruce. Those are all things you can use in a protection bundle. Okay, so I'm gonna go over. Sorry, I'm gonna go over the prosperity one. So again, you'd want to use some sort of green fabric, green jar. If you don't have green fabric, you can use a green ribbon. Same with the protection, you'd want to use black. If you don't have, it doesn't have to be solid black. It can be black with a print on it. Like this medicine bundle that we did is a printed fabric, so that's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be a solid color. And then you could tie it up with a black ribbon or a white ribbon. Just ideas. So for stones for your prosperity, I'm going to show you the obvious one first. So is green aventurine, because green is money, which is prosperity. So there is a green aventurine you can use. Another one you can use is citrine. That is a good prosperity stone. Another one you could use is turquoise. Believe it or not, I don't have a turquoise. Or the other one you can use is quartz. And I'll just show you this one because it's little. I have quartz all over my desk here, so my space. So you could use a piece of quartz. I also have, like, these are really great for me to use in medicine bundles because they're just a nice little tiny piece. So you're not putting a big expensive piece in there. So that's another piece of quartz you could use. All right. And so some of the things, again, herbs or oils, just recommend that you have one of each. One of the oils I have is cassia, which is cinnamon, but I also have some cinnamon chips. So you could use either or both if you wanted. Aloe, and I don't have any. Star anise is another one. And again, you can use it in oil form or the actual herb form, either one. Pomegranate. So if you had a pomegranate, you could actually put some seeds in there. I have some pomegranate oil I could use. And then cedar berries you could put in there. So those are all good things that you could put in a prosperity. So we've covered your piece of cloth or your container. We've covered the stones that you're going to go in with. You've covered the herbs and or oils that you can use to go in there. And then my next step would be to take a bay leaf and write your intention on the leaf, whatever it is. So you can simply write protection, or you can simply write prosperity. You can, put financial stability for protection. You could put, if you're doing one for traveling, you could put safe travels. Different, like if you're going to put it in your car, maybe you could put safe travels. If you're going to fly, anything like that, you could put safe travels on it. So you could make it a little bit more specific is the word I'm looking for, than just protection or prosperity. And you could write that on your leaf. I have a soft tipped Sharpie that works really well. It doesn't break the leaves. Because if you try to write on it with a pen, it's just going to break. So you could use a regular Sharpie, but I find this this soft-tipped one, you can't write a lot on them. So if you want to write a whole big thing on there, you might have to use the front and the back. So then I would put my bay leaf on there. So we've got our fabric, we've got our stones, we've got our herbs, we've got our oil. Now we've got our bay leaf with our intention written on it. And then you can get a little fun with it after that. Some of the things I would recommend is if you're doing a prosperity one, you could put a penny or a couple pennies. For me, I would probably put 3 pennies because I like the number 3. So I'd put 3 pennies in there. For protection, you could make up a little protection rune with a protection symbol on it and put that in there. There are lots of protection symbols out there. If you Google them, there's like tons of them. I do have a little meme, I think, of protection symbols that I could see if I can get posted on there for you. So you could, again, you could draw that on your bay leaf. You could just put it on a piece of paper and put it in there. You could put it on, if you had a little piece of wood, you could draw it on and put the piece of wood in there. Again, you can kind of get creative with it. Your prosperity one, you could put a dollar bill in there if you wanted. I would suggest pennies, but not that pennies are really copper anymore, but copper is always a good source of bringing in what you're looking for. So you could use pennies, even though I don't think there's much copper in pennies anymore. So you could use that. You could put a deposit slip in your medicine, in your bundle for prosperity, because you want to be able to go make a large deposit in your bank account. However that is to you. You could even be fun with it and put a little picture of a pig in there because you want to have a full piggy bank. You know, like it's really what resonates with you and what makes you think of the things that you want, what you're seeing in your mind's eye of what you want. So those are some fun things you could put in there. So to go over some of it real quick, because I didn't realize I was taking so long. You're putting in the gemstones, which is a symbol of the earth. And then you're putting in your oils, which is a symbol of your air. And then you're putting in your, make sure I'm saying this right. Your herbs are, I don't think I'm saying this right. I'll have to check back on you on that. But you want to put one of all 4 elements in there. I should have written it down. Now I'm trying to rush and I'm not thinking straight here. So, but another thing you could do before you close up your medicine bundle is you could blow on it, because that's your air. The other thing you can do is, I have these little candles I bought on Amazon. I got all these candles for like $9. So I can either pull out the black candle or the green candle and light it and let it drip over everything before I seal it up. Another thing you can do, and again, there's no right or wrong way. You don't have to do any of these things, but these are the way, if I was making a medicine bundle, these are the things that I would do. You want to put something of yourself in there. The easiest thing you can do is put a couple of strands of hair if you want. The more potent is bodily fluids. Now, our body makes all kinds of fluids, but my suggestion would be you could just put a little bit of spit there. You don't have to huck a big loogie in there. Just a little bit of spit is enough. You don't need to like saturate your bundle with it. You could use blood if you want. There's a whole stereotypical thing about using blood for magic, but it is a bodily fluid, and it use your own, don't use somebody else's. So that's perfectly fine if you want to use blood. I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to prick my finger or cut my finger or anything for blood when I can spit in it. Blood would be the most potent source of your bodily fluids, but it is not very easily accessed without injuring yourself. And I don't recommend that. I don't recommend poking your finger or cutting your finger. And it's not like in the TV where you see them slice their hand open and drip blood in. You don't need to do any of that stuff. If you want to use blood, just take a little pin, poke your finger and just like one little drop and you're fine. You can use other bodily fluids. It's not a practice I use, but you can, if you choose to use other bodily fluids. Use your imagination there. Whatever you choose to do. The most potent is your blood. The easiest to use is your saliva, your spit. Pretty much anybody can conjure up some saliva on demand. So it's pretty easy. And again, you know, you don't need a whole ton. You don't need to like sit there and drool over your medicine bundle for 20 minutes. Just a little teeny spit is fine. Then you're going to fold it all up. If you're using a jar, you're going to put the cover on it. And then I recommend sealing it with wax. You could just tie a ribbon around the lid and tie it and leave it tied if that's what you want to do. But usually if you're using a jar, I do recommend that you put a candle on top, let the candle burn down and melt over it and seal it that way. But again, you can use a ribbon if you want to. You just use a ribbon. Your medicine bundle, you have two options. You can do kind of like this flat one. And what you would do is you would fold the four corners in. You would start east, south, west, north, and fold it in. And then tie it up. So that's one way you can do it. Or you can kind of scoop it all up so it's a little ball and tie your ribbon around the top. And so it's like a little ball with the tuft of fabric at the top. That's a good way if you, like I said, if you want to carry it in your pocket, that's a good way to do that. Again, remember, if you're going to carry this in your pocket, be aware of the things you're putting in it. So if you're using a lot of your more essential oils than you are herbs, remember that that oil is going to soak through that fabric and potentially onto your clothes. So if it's something you want to carry with you, maybe you want to go with more of the herbs and maybe just 1 or 2 drops of a couple of different oils and not a whole bunch. If you're doing it in a jar, you can put as much oil in there as you want because it's not going to make a difference. So again, just be very aware of what and how you want to make and how you want to use it before you go. And you don't want to make this medicine bundle with all this stuff with a bunch of oil and a bunch of spit in it and then go, oh, I want to put that in my pocket, because it's not going to go well. Okay, so that is pretty much it, I think. You can always decorate things. Some people put little charms on them. On the outside, they might put a charm. I usually like to have some kind of old skeleton key. I like to go around antique shops or old barns or wherever you can find anything like this. And I like to put those on outside, tie them on outside to jars or medicine bundles. You can put some feathers in there as well. I mean, you can really just decorate it however you want. And like I use pretty simple ribbon. I use the sari ribbon, SARI ribbon. But you can use glitter ribbon or whatever you want that makes it feel like it's for you. So I went through that kind of quick because I didn't realize I was taking so long. So if anybody has any questions or anything that they want more information on, I will tell you real quick, 2 of the books that I use to find some of this information is my Crystals for Beginners. So there was information in there that I took. I also took some information from one of Athena's chakra books. So those are 2 of the books that I did use. I always use Google, so don't ever feel bad about using Google. Just if you're using Google, be very cautious and conscious of what information you're getting and from where. Just remember, Wikipedia is accessed by everybody. So anybody can go in there and add information to Wikipedia. And it's not really sourced or fact checked, okay? So just be a little cautious of where you're getting some of that information from. There are a lot of great people out there that have a lot of great blogs. Athena has more blogs than I can ever share with you in a lifetime. I try, but so you can get information from blogs. There are lots of YouTube videos besides just my videos that you can learn from. I'm not going to tell you you only need to learn from me. I don't think that's fair. I have two people that I like to watch and learn from. But, you know, you can use multiple sources as well. So with that, before I go, I do have my little rattle here with some perfumes and a couple of stones in there. I don't remember what stones I put, honestly. I just put some stones in there. So I went through this morning to see who had put their charts up, and I was a little disappointed, honestly, that there wasn't that many of you. I was hoping that maybe this would encourage some people to get their charts done. That's why we do giveaways, is to encourage people to do something. It's like you do something and you may get something out of it. But I was feeling this morning that this needs to go to Cecile. So I will message you and have you send me your information so I can send that out to you. Okay? And she's not on there now, but she goes back and, as many of you do, and watch the video later because I'm on too early in the morning for most people. All right, so I have to go to work, so I'm not late. So I hope everybody has a great day. I'd be interested to know if anybody's going to try the flower technique, the bundle technique. I'm going to start with my bundle this morning. I have my bundle right here with all my flowers. I know you can see them. They're all right here. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to see how many flowers I can hand out today and hopefully come back with no flowers. So, as always, be kind. Lots of love. Thanks for joining. See you guys all on Tuesday.